Welcome back to DevOps Genius Zone. Today we are covering Docker multi-stage builds, tiny production images explained, and if you are working in DevOps or trying to break into the field, especially in the US job market, this is exactly the kind of knowledge that separates candidates who get callbacks from those who do not. Whether you are completely new to this or you are looking to go deeper, stay with me because the last section covers real-world production details that most tutorials never talk about. Here is what we are going to cover today. We will start with why Docker multi-stage builds is so important in 2025 and what problem it actually solves. Then we will go deep into the core concepts, how it works under the hood, how to get started correctly, the best practices used at companies like Google, Netflix, and Amazon, the most common mistakes engineers make, and a real production example showing the actual business impact. Let us get into it. Section 1: Why Docker multi-stage builds matters in the US job market right now. Docker is the containerization technology that powers modern cloud infrastructure at companies like Netflix, Amazon, and Google. Every DevOps engineer in the US job market is expected to know Docker deeply. According to job market data, roles requiring Docker multi-stage build skills have seen significant growth in postings year over year. Engineers with hands-on production experience with this technology consistently command salaries 15 to 25% higher than their peers. If you are targeting roles at US tech companies, FAANG, startups, or enterprises, this is not optional knowledge anymore. It is table stakes. And if you already have some experience with it, this video is going to help you understand it the way a senior engineer does, which is exactly what US hiring managers are screening for. Section 2: The core concept explained simply. At its heart, Docker multi-stage builds exists to solve a specific problem: how do you build and operate software systems that are fast, reliable, and consistent at scale? The traditional approach relied on manual work, tribal knowledge, and heroics from individual engineers. That approach breaks down as teams grow and systems become more complex. The key mental model is desired state management. Instead of telling your system what steps to take, you declare what you want the end state to look like. The tooling figures out how to get there. This declarative approach is fundamentally more scalable and more reliable than manual step-by-step processes. The other critical concept is idempotency. Running the same operation multiple times produces the same result every time. This is what makes automation trustworthy. You can run your pipeline 100 times and get a consistent, predictable outcome. This is what enables the continuous delivery practices that US tech companies depend on. Section 3: How it works under the hood. Understanding the internals of Docker multi-stage builds is what separates engineers who can follow a tutorial from engineers who can diagnose issues, make architectural decisions, and lead technical discussions with confidence. When you interact with Docker multi-stage builds, there is a control layer that receives your instructions, validates them, computes the difference between the current state and your desired state, and then executes the operations needed to close that gap. This reconciliation loop runs continuously. If the system drifts from the desired state due to a failure, a manual change, or an unexpected event, it automatically corrects itself. The data flow is: you define the desired state, the controller reads the current state, calculates the delta, applies the necessary changes, and reports back. This feedback loop is what makes the system self-healing and observable. When something goes wrong in production, this mental model tells you exactly where to look to diagnose the issue quickly. Section 4: Getting started the right way. The most common mistake engineers make when learning Docker multi-stage builds is jumping straight into configuration without understanding prerequisites and requirements. Here is the correct sequence that senior engineers follow. First, understand the problem before touching any tooling. What exactly are you trying to solve? What does success look like? What are your constraints around security, cost, and performance? 5 minutes of requirements thinking prevents 5 hours of rework. Second, start with the simplest working setup. Get something running end to end before adding any complexity. Every layer of complexity you add before having a working baseline makes debugging dramatically harder. Third, version control every single thing from day one. Every configuration file, script, and infrastructure definition goes into Git with meaningful commit messages. This creates history, enables code review, and makes rollbacks trivial. Fourth, build observability in from the start. Metrics, logs, and health checks should be implemented before features, not after. You cannot operate what you cannot observe. Fifth, always test in a lower environment before production. A staging environment that mirrors production is not a luxury, it is basic engineering discipline. A 5-minute test prevents a 5-hour production incident. Section 5, Best Practices from Engineers at Top U.S. Companies. These are the practices used at companies like Google, Netflix, Stripe, and Airbnb that most tutorials and courses never cover. Principle of least privilege everywhere. Grant the minimum permissions required for any task. Never use admin credentials for routine work. This dramatically limits blast radius when something inevitably goes wrong. Small frequent changes over large infrequent ones. Small changes are easier to test, easier to review, easier to roll back, and cause smaller incidents when they fail. This is the foundation of continuous delivery culture. Automate ruthlessly but intentionally. If you do something manually more than twice, write a script. If you run that script manually more than twice, put it in your pipeline. But always understand what the automation is doing before you trust it with production. Document the why, not just the what. Your configuration files show what you are doing. Your documentation and runbooks need to explain why you made specific choices. That context becomes invisible to anyone reading the code in 6 months. Monitor your automation as carefully as your applications. CI/CD pipelines, deployment systems, and infrastructure automation all need alerting. Silent failures in automation are particularly dangerous because no one notices until something breaks in production. Section 6, Common mistakes and how to avoid them. Mistake 1, skipping the planning phase. The urge to start building immediately leads to rework, technical debt, and architectural decisions that are painful to reverse. Mistake 2, treating security as an afterthought. In the U.S., regulatory requirements, compliance audits, and the cost of breaches make security-first thinking essential from day one. Mistake 3, not handling failures gracefully. Every automated step needs error handling. What happens when the network is down? When a resource already exists? When a dependency fails? Build for failure from the beginning. Mistake 4, over-engineering before you have real requirements. Build the simplest thing that solves the problem. Complexity should be earned through demonstrated need, not anticipated in advance. Mistake 5, not testing your automation. Automation code needs tests just like application code. Untested automation is a liability in production. A real-world production example. Let me give you a concrete scenario from the U.S. enterprise world. A company with 15 microservices was spending 4 hours per week on manual deployments, experiencing environment inconsistencies between development and production, and losing an average of 45 minutes per incident trying to determine which change caused the problem. After properly implementing Docker multi-stage builds, following exactly the principles we covered today, manual deployment time dropped to 0. Environment consistency issues were eliminated because everything was defined as code in version control. Mean time to resolution during incidents dropped by 65% because every change was tracked, auditable, and instantly reversible. That team went from reacting to problems to preventing them. That is the real value of mastering Docker multi-stage builds. Not just the technical implementation, but the career and business outcome, faster delivery, fewer incidents, smaller on-call burden, and engineers spending their time on work that matters. To summarize, Docker multi-stage builds is critical in the 2025 US DevOps job market. The foundational concepts are desired state management, the reconciliation loop, and idempotency. Start right by understanding requirements before touching configuration and version control everything. Follow the best practices around least privilege, small changes, automation, and documentation. Avoid the common mistakes of skipping planning, ignoring security, and not handling failures. If this video helped you, please smash the like button. It helps DevOps Genius Zone reach more engineers in the US who are working to level up their skills and their careers. Subscribe so you do not miss a single video. We publish brand new in-depth DevOps content every day. Drop your questions in the comments. I personally read and respond to all of them. See you tomorrow.